Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Angel Storm. I'm the founder of Ashes to Beauty Ministries, and welcome to my Life After Narcissism full course. So this course is based off of my live mentorship program, which is basically this exact same course, but I run it live, meaning I do the videos live through Facebook every week. We have a private group where there's interaction with other people, and this course is based off of that live program that I started last year. And I really wanted to do this so that people would have the ability to get everything that they need from that course without having to wait a year. Since these mentorship programs, they're running once a year right now, they're going to start running twice a year next year in 2020. I wanted to make sure that people had the ability to get the information and the healing that I provide in that live mentorship program in a self-paced course. So you're going to have access to these videos forever. You've got the PDF, you've got unlimited free downloads for the exercises that are included for the PDF. So you are all set to get on your way towards complete healing and rebuilding your life after narcissism. So I think it's really important, first of all, that I address narcissism from a spiritual perspective. Everything that we see in the natural has something in the spirit realm behind it. It originated in the spirit world, and then we see it in the physical world. And so, first of all, there's a misconception about a lot of people which think that the first sin, the first way that evil entered into the world, was Adam and Eve ate an apple in the tree, from the tree that they shouldn't have in the garden. And that's completely false. The first sin was narcissism. The devil was a narcissist. And so before he was Lucifer, his name was Hillel. He was a cherub. He was an angel. He lived in heaven. He was probably the worship leader in heaven. He made musical instruments that were in his body, and he made beautiful music, worship and praise unto God. And he wanted to be exactly like God. In fact, he wanted to be God. He wanted to be mightier than him. And he planned it in his heart to overthrow God. Of course, he couldn't. Again, the devil is not the equivalent of God. The devil is the equivalent of Michael. So anyhow, the first sin was narcissism. And 5 times in Ezekiel 28, you're going to see that he says, I will exalt myself to be above the throne of God. And so 5 times he talks about himself, I. That's really where narcissism originated. And ever since then, it's been his goal to recruit people to serve him over God. Narcissism is first a spirit. It's operating through people who partner with this mindset in the spirit realm. In the PDF that came along with this course, you can read about 9 traits or 9 ways to kind of identify a narcissist. A narcissist is typically going to have 6 or more of those things listed on that list, so that you have those available to kind of screen people that you're running into. But right now, what I want to cover is why so many people fall for the narcissist act. You know, the Bible tells us that when Satan fell from heaven, that when the Lord kicked him out of heaven and he was banished from heaven, he took 1/3 of the angels with him. So even in heaven, where it's a perfect environment and where it was no sin at all, Satan wanted to overthrow God. And not only that, he got 1/3 of the angels there who knew both God and him, and Hillel, Lucifer, and he was able to convince them to go along with him, that he would have a better way of doing things. In fact, Ezekiel 28 says, because of your numerous tradings, because of the way that you ran the trading floor, in other words, because of the way that you tried to do these backdoor deals, like, if you support me, I'll make sure that these things happen. Because he was trying to overthrow God, he was kicked out. He took 1/3 of the angels with him. So my point being, again, this is first a spiritual issue. This is first something happening in the spirit realm, and we need to be aware of that, because even in heaven, a perfect environment, Satan got 1/3 of the angels to go with him. And so it's no surprise to me that there are people who support the narcissist over the person that he's abusing, or the person who's telling the truth, the person who's trying to receive justice in any situation. Narcissists are extremely manipulative. They're extremely cunning. They know how to play the game. They're very, I always tell my clients, you're never going to out-lie a narcissist. You're never going to be able to outsmart him. You're not going to be more crafty than him because your brain doesn't think that way. And so it's important to first address the issue when you're dealing with a narcissist from a spiritual perspective before taking it on in the natural. The other thing to keep in mind is the effects of the narcissist. So just having them in an environment is going to create chaos. They naturally do this. They also try to create chaos even within your own mind. So there's something called cognitive dissonance, which I speak about a little bit later, but basically you are holding two things to be true. So how can these two things that are opposites both be true? So the narcissist will say something to you, but then do the complete opposite. He's also doing this to everybody that he meets, whether or not they're in relationship with him. They'll remember the person that they met who was super charming, very nice, very kind, probably altruistic, very successful, likely, and they're trying to mirror that. They're trying to marry that with what they are hearing you talk about. And so it's creating cognitive dissonance, and this is exactly where the narcissist wants you to be. He wants to create this kind of environment where you cannot make sense of what the person telling the truth is saying and what the narcissist is actually doing. He wants his actions and his words to be at such deep odds with one another that the person that you're trying to tell or trying to convince that this is happening to you, that they just cannot believe it. They just can't make sense of it. And this is definitely one of the things that they do on purpose to create a divide, because isolation is another one of their goals. They want to get the primary victim of whoever they're targeting alone. They want to take them away from the support system. They want to take them away from anybody who might intervene and take away that supply. Narcissists are energy vampires, meaning they can't create their own internal value. They can't create their own feeling of self-worth or self-importance, and so they have to steal it from other people. The narcissist has such a fragile ego. Lots of people think they have a huge ego, but they actually have a fragile ego, which is why they need to keep talking about themselves. They have to have somebody supporting them. They have to have somebody who values them and who tells them how great they are and who does whatever they want, because that's the only way that they can feel important, instead of just feeling valued for who they are, for how they were created. They don't find any pleasure in that, and so they have to take it from other people. You're going to notice that you feel drained when you deal with a narcissist. You're going to feel like it's not even worth, trying to bring this up or trying to make sense of this thing, because it's not going to, and it's always so draining to try to have these conversations. And even when you try to talk about how you're feeling or something that you want changed, you're going to find that you just are so exhausted from doing that, it's not even worth it. And that's how you know you're around a narcissist. They drain your energy. They're energy vampires. Before ending this lesson, I want to talk really quickly about the importance of recognizing how the narcissist got into your life. So for me, I know that it was because I didn't have healthy boundaries. I did not understand that there were people like this who would purposefully try to manipulate me, try to control me, try to dominate me. And so because I didn't ever think that there were these types of people that were in my life that would do this, I just had no boundaries. I didn't understand that somebody could truly be given over to evil. So if you're in a place where you're wondering, like, what should I do now? The first thing that you have to do is take a look internally to find out what's going on in there. What exactly is the issue with how they first got into your life. Perhaps you were raised in an environment where this kind of behavior was acceptable. Maybe you were raised by a narcissist, or maybe one of your parents married a narcissist, or you grew up with aunts or uncles who exhibited these traits. Regardless of the reason, it's important that you look and find out where this first became acceptable in your life, so that you can move forward. This again is not to bring up any shame or condemnation, any feelings of guilt. It's important that you recognize your internal mistakes and make those adjustments, and make the adjustments to your own feeling of self-worth, your own feeling of security and identity. And once you do that, you're able to move forward. But until you do that, you're going to continue to repeat the same mistakes and make the same choices. And because this is a spirit, I always say you're going to attract the same spirit in a different body if you don't know how to identify a narcissist, and if you don't know your true worth, if you aren't rooted in your identity. So I say this just to say we're going to do some internal work this week. Following this teaching, following this lesson, there's exercises and reflections for you to complete. I highly encourage you to do these because you're going to get out of this course what you put into it. So I highly encourage you to go through these thoroughly. Again, there's unlimited amount of exercises that you can download from my website for free. So it's not about trying to sell you anything else. I really want you to get help. I really want you to be free and to live your life to the fullest. And to do that, you may have to do these exercises numerous times. You may have to go back through this PDF and watch these videos a few times before you get the fullness of it. And I think you should do that. I think that's amazing. That time and that energy that you spend investing in yourself, it will not come back void. So this is going to end lesson 1. I will see you in next video for lesson 2.